Today we're going to be rounding four-digit number to the nearest 10, 100, and 1,000 using place value. Remember, pretty much everything we do in math class is based on place value, and this is no exception. So first thing I'm going to want to do, because I'm using place value, is draw a place value chart. Here we go. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. Switch colors so it makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and enter my number into my place value chart first thing. No, that doesn't work. My number is 4,194, and I'm going to start off with the tens place. So tens place is right here. First thing that I need to remember when I'm rounding to a place value that is not the greatest one is that the greater place values than my rounding place immediately get recycled. That's the first thing I'm going to do. This one might change. What chances are it's not going to, only in special situations, but we'll see. Alrighty, so the 9, I'm going to look to the digit to its right, and this is my rounding number, this is my number that's going to tell this number what to do. I'm not going to use any sort of silly song or anything like that, because, well, I want you to understand this in terms of place value. This 4 is important. It falls in one of 3 places on my number line. It's either going to fall between 0 and 5 or at 5 to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The 4 is right there. If it appears over here, that means I'm going to round down because it is closer to 0. 0 pretty much means nothing's going to happen to my rounding place. So the 9 stays the same. And since I'm rounding, I'm trying to make this easier to understand or easier to deal with. That 4 is going to change into a, how about that, 0. So 4,194 to the nearest 10 is 4,190. Next. I'm going to use that same 4,194, except now I'm rounding to a greater place value, the hundreds place. And here we go. Same thing. First thing I do is the greater place values are going to get recycled. 4 goes there because it's greater than the hundreds place, which is my rounding place. All right, now I'm going to take a look at that 1, and I'm going to go next door. And this number I'm going to find over here on my handy place or number line. And I see that the 9 is closer to 10 this time, so that means I'm going to round up. So that means the 1 changes into a 2. Easy peasy. And the rest of it, since I'm trying to make this number very easy to understand, I'm just going to change the digits to 0. So 4,194 to the nearest 100 is 4,200. Let's go ahead and recycle that same place value chart and round that number yet again to a different place value. This time, we're going to the thousands place. We're still going to look next door, and we're going to make our decision based on how close our number here is to 0 or 10. As you can see, the 1 is right there, and it is definitely closer to 0. That does not mean I change it to 0. That just means I do nothing to it. So it stays 4. If you want to think about it, 4 plus 0 is 4. Maybe a little bit easier to think of it that way. And then just like before, the rest of the digits, change to 0. There are no place values greater than 1,000, so I don't need to really do anything about that. 4,194 to the nearest 1,000 is 4,000. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. One more thing. There are some tricky ones that might come your way. especially when you have a number with a whole bunch of 9s in it or a whole bunch of digits that are greater than 5. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's say I'm trying to round 4,799. Put that in my place value chart. And I want to round that to the nearest, you know what, let's make it, yeah, this is fine, to the nearest 10. I'm going to look next door like I did before, and I can see clearly that my 9, which is what the arrow is pointing to, is closer to 10. So here's one way you can think about it also. I'm going to put this 10 down here. Now this is kind of, it's not a trick, it's arithmetic. And then that 1, I can't have 2 digits inside of that place value, so I'm going to share it with this one. Oh my, here we go. 9 and 1. I can't have 10 when I put those together in that place value, so I'm going to move it next door. Remember I told you sometimes we change the greater place value? This is such an instance where you round to the nearest 10, and because of how large these digits are, remember there are numbers with lots of 9s, you're going to have to end up changing the greater place value. So this number to the nearest 10 is actually 4,800. That doesn't happen very often, but it does happen.